One of the most important things, never, ever quit. They respect us more now than they ever have respected us, by a lot.
Eat my shorts.
Is that what he sleeps, like 4 hours?
He does not sleep. We wrote this story on what traveling with him is like because I had this source who said, you never want to be on Air Force One on a trip. And I said, why? Like, you think you want to be in the axis of power close to Trump? He doesn't sleep on these trips. And like, you're going to Asia or something, and that's kind of the only time you're going to sleep before you go on this trip.
Yeah.
But Trump is just always up and talking, and he'll like have them go wake staff up if they're asleep because he wants to talk to them.
It's a big crowd. It's a lot of people. I think it's like a record. So these are accomplishments. We have a lot of accomplishments. And as you know, this is the anniversary, first anniversary, January 20th. And it's been an amazing period of time. We have a book that I'm not going to read to you, but these are the accomplishments of what we've produced. All page after page after page, individual things. I could stand here and read it for a week and we wouldn't be finished. But we've done more than any other administration has done by far in terms of military, in terms of ending wars, in terms of completing wars. Nobody's really seen very much like it. I think it's appropriate that because Minnesota is so much in the fray, and I say to my people all the time, and they're so busy doing other things, they don't say it like they should. They're apprehending murderers and drug dealers and a lot of bad people. And these are just some of the more recent ones that we have. And I can show you some of the people. Vicious, many of them murderers. These are all out of Minnesota, just Minnesota. I say, why don't you talk about that more? Because people don't know. Do you want to live with these people? International murder. These are people that are living, they're apprehended and either put in jails in their country from where they came, and the countries respect us, and so they actually put them there. In the old days, they didn't respect our country. Biden wouldn't do this because he let them all in. You know, if you didn't have open border policies of Biden, none of this, all of the things that all of the time that we spend talking about Minnesota and everything else, most of them are coming from out of the country. And
unrelenting stream of immigration, nonstop.
Been caused by a previous administration. Look at this, one after one.
Unrelenting stream of immigration.
Boy, these are rough characters.
Nonstop.
These are all criminal, illegal aliens that, in many cases, they're murderers, they're drug lords, drug dealers. They're the mentally insane. There's some of them who are brutal killers, they're mentally insane. They're killers, but they're insane. These are just in Minnesota. California, it's worse. In other states, it's worse. Now, Minnesota, the crime is incredible. The financial crimes are incredible. And the problem is because of the agitators and insurrectionists, whatever you want, troublemakers, but they're paid agitators and insurrectionists.
argues fascism is denying paying any protesters in our nation's capital. Our commander-in-chief continues to say he doubts all demonstrators are legitimate. President Trump posting this on Truth Social on Friday, quote, "It's just been found that the Democrats are buying protesters in order to fight my attack on crime." This claim not yet proven by the president. We're still waiting on evidence, but the business of protest organizing does exist. One company, Crowds on Demand, markets itself as providing services, quote, "for impactful advocacy campaigns, demonstrations, PR stunts, crowds for hire, and corporate events," receiving requests for both conservative and liberal causes. And the CEO of Crowds on Demand, Adam Swart, is joining us now. Adam, appreciate you making the time. I want to jump right in here. Your company has your company at all been approached to provide protesters for these latest demonstrations in D.C., or are you aware of any paid protesters there?
Well, Natasha, pleasure to be with you. Well, let me just say this. Crowds on Demand is the largest protest company in the country and potentially the world. So we get approached by all kinds of social movements all the time, probably every possible social movement. That doesn't mean every group within each social movement has approached us at a given time about one area of concern or another.
Have you been approached at all for protests that happened this past weekend?
Yes, we have.
Nobody talks about the fact that $19 billion at a minimum is missing in Minnesota.
Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that someone stole your entire life savings. Every penny you've worked for, gone. Now multiply that feeling by millions of Americans, because what I'm about to tell you is so massive, so brazen, so absolutely jaw-dropping that when you hear the numbers, you're going to think, I'm making it up. I'm not. $9 billion.
Given to a large degree by Somalians. They've taken it. Somalians, can you imagine? And they don't do it. A lot of very low IQ people, they don't do it. Other people work it out, and they get them money, and they go out and buy Mercedes-Benzes, and they come from here, they have no money. They never had money. They never had a life. They never had a government. They never had a country, because there's basically no country. Somalia is not even a country. They don't have anything that resembles a country. And if it is a country, it's considered just about the worst in the world. They come here and they become rich and they don't have a job.
UNHCR estimates that over 100,000 Somalis have fled their homes this year alone. Many found shelter in what has become a massive shanty town outside of Mogadishu on the road to Afgoy. It may be safer there, but the conditions are brutal. Despite the violence in Mogadishu, many Somalis, like Mako Hassan, say they will try and survive in the city.
meeshaan ka soo qaxna meel aad u xun waaye hadda markaa meeshaan imaanana nolosheena aad ay u xuntaa aad ay u liidataa dib xagga ka soo qaxan dibkiisa kalena haysto dagaalihii weli meesheeda joogaan.
Dodging bullets and mortars is one thing. Day-to-day survival is another. Getting essentials like water can be an extremely risky exercise, and buying food in the city is terribly expensive.
I was told that Ilhan Omar is worth $30 million. She never had a job. She's a crooked congressman. So here is another one. And I have, oh, by the way, we just took out, these are all what ICE is doing. And it's a dangerous job. These are rough people. Weapons. This one here is very bad. I love Hispanic. They are unbelievable, entrepreneurial. They have everything. I did great. I did the highest. Nobody ever got numbers like I got from the standpoint of being a Republican. But even if you look at Texas, I won the entire border along Texas, between Texas and Mexico. It never happened before. Nobody's ever done that before. I did it. As a Republican, I did it. I love the Hispanic. And they accuse us of all sorts of things. 60% of the people we're talking about, they're the best people we have, and they're Hispanic. The Border Patrol is largely Hispanic. ICE is largely Hispanic. They're unbelievable people. I don't know how they can take the abuse. They're taking rough people like this, like all of them. We have We are going to ask a couple of people to say a few words, and we're not going to go through the whole table because the last time we had a press conference, it lasted for 3 hours, and some people said he closed his eyes. Look, it got pretty boring. In all fairness, I love these people. I love these people. But there's a lot of people. It was a little bit on the boring side. But I didn't sleep. I just closed them because I wanted to get the hell out of here. Some of them, I didn't sleep, by the way. I don't sleep much, let me tell you. But, you know, it's funny. Some of them got me in a blink. You know, when you go like, you know, and they took me as at the closed segment of my cycle. So we have 10,000 at least. I could have done 10,000 of them. You're lucky I only did like 100. And this isn't even the worst of the group. They have murderers. They have some people we can't use their picture for legal reasons, but they're up for murder in their own country. And we jeopardize their case. Well, we send them back. We send them back and we coordinate with other countries. A tremendous amount of work.
Good morning. I'm Tom Homan, the Board Czar for President Trump. I'm here on behalf of the President, along with U.S. Commissioner for U.S. Customs and Border Protection, Rodney Scott, and Marcos Charles, who's leading the enforcement effort here right now. I've been on the ground since Monday to regain law and order in the city beloved by many, and work together to remove threats from the community. During the past administration, we'll all remember, more than 10 million illegal aliens entered this nation. Many were national security threats, public safety threats. We can't remember over 2 million known gotaways. 2 million people who paid more to get away. Why? That should scare the hell out of everybody. President Trump promised the American people, including the residents of Minnesota, that he would work to ensure our communities are safe. And with that, this administration is absolutely focused on identifying removal aliens that pose a public safety threat and national security threats. And the numbers prove it. The data proves it. In the past few days, I've met with Governor Walz, Attorney General Ellison, Mayor Frey, numerous police chiefs and sheriffs, and I have more to meet. I'll also be continuing the dialogue with business and religious leaders in partnership with Minnesota, your community leaders. I'll be meeting with them too because I want to hear what they have to say. In my meetings with folks so far, and most important, the governor and the AG, the Mayor Frey, we didn't agree on everything. I didn't expect to agree on anything. I've heard many people want to know why we're talking to people who they don't consider friends in administration. Bottom line is you can't fix problems if you don't have discussions. I didn't come to Minnesota for photo ops or headlines. You haven't seen me. I came here to seek solutions, and that's what we're going to do. And we've come a long way, and we got some good wins for the people of Minnesota, I think, and for the administration and for the safety and security of this city. One thing we did agree on, though, everybody I talked to agreed on, was that community safety is paramount. One thing we all agreed on was U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement is a legitimate law enforcement agency that has a duty to enforce the laws enacted by Congress and keep this community safe.
We're all allowed in here by an open border policy of the worst president in the history of our country. A man that didn't win the election, by the way, everybody knows that now. And by the way, numbers are coming out that show it even more plainly. We caught him. We caught him. So I just want you to know that it's a terrible thing. Here's the book on accomplishments. And this is something, ooh, I'm glad my finger wasn't in that sucker. That could have done some damage, but you know what? I wouldn't have shown the pain. I would have gone back. What, did you hear that? That was nasty. But I would not have shown the pain. I would have acted like nothing happened as my finger fell off. That was a nasty, I think somebody did that. But here is the Here's the book. These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all, each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before. And it's big stuff, too. Look, we have the hottest country in the world.
Minnesota's Somali community numbers around 80,000 to 100,000 people, depending on which estimates you believe.
You know, men and women's sports is dumb. But to me, having an open border for the world to come in, drug dealers and prisoners, Venezuela, as an example, opened their prisons into the United States. That's why one of the reasons I felt so strongly against Venezuela. Now I'm loving Venezuela. They've been working with us so well. It's been so nice. And an unbelievably nice woman also did a very incredible thing, as you know, a few days ago. We're talking to her, and maybe we can get her involved in some way. I'd love to be able to do that. Maria, maybe we can do that. But we're dealing with the people and the president and all of the people in Venezuela, and we've been doing great. The oil companies are getting ready to make massive investments there. They have more oil than even Saudi Arabia. There you go. These are real. These are rough. This is all Minnesota, every one of them. This is one state out of many. And these people are, let's see, yeah, these are all, so far, people that came from outside of the country. They were allowed in by Sleepy Joe Biden, Crooked Joe Biden, whichever you like. You can call him whatever you like. They're both right. He's sleepy and he's crooked. He was the worst president we've ever had. And we've had some bad ones, too. I can tell you, all you have to do is look at trade. You're not getting bored with this, right? I hope you don't. He said he's sleeping. And besides that, Marco, between these two guys, if I was sleeping, they'd be waking me up very fast. They'd be knocking me. Come on, you got to wake up, boss. But these are people that you have to see. Strong-arm rape, aggravated assault with a weapon, and many other crimes. Gang member, known as one of the toughest people around. These are tough people. So this is what the people are trying to protect.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers.
Because all ICE wants to do is get them out of our country, bring them to prisons and jails and mental institutions from where they came. That's all they want to do. They're patriots, and they have to be abused by guys like Don Lemon. I saw him the way he walked in that church. It was terrible. I have such respect for that pastor. He was so calm. He was so nice. He was just accosted. What they did in that church was horrible yesterday. One of the most important things, never, ever quit. Never quit. And I've seen people quitting. And if they would have held out longer, they would have been successful. I've seen it so much. I've seen some of the most brilliant people in the world that never made it because they were quitters. They were just quitters. They would quit. They just couldn't take it. They couldn't whatever. Now, you have to also have flexibility, though. You can't necessarily say, I'm never giving up, and you got to be able to weave and bob. You don't have to go through a concrete wall. You have to have flexibility. You have to always be able to change course a little bit, maybe always with that same goal, but don't quit.